Hi there, here is the thing about ADM, Archer Daniels Midland. If you check right now, the market cap is about $23 billion. And the price $47 per share, if you want to know. Now, the most important thing about this company is the dividend yield, which is now around 4.2% or $2 per share. And this is quite high. At the current level, especially the stock price has declined quite a lot from its highest peak, this is a good dividend yield. So now, you have to know if this company is a great buy at the current market cap of $23 billion, especially as you get this nice dividend over 4.2%, seems like a good investment. Now, let's check their balance sheet. Here you can see their total cash plus investments, $7.7 billion. Look at this number, $7.7 billion, and compare it with the current market cap, $23 billion. So it's quite high. Now, you also have to look at the total debt, because this is also important. If you look at the total debt, current debt and long-term debt, if you add them up, it's about $10.3 billion. And now, if you do the math, subtract from the total cash, the total debt, the net cash position is about minus $2.6 billion. So you can see that they don't have a lot of cash on their balance sheet or other valuable assets. But what? The most important thing about this company, ADM, is their earnings. Here, the money they generate. For instance, in 2022, ADM made over $101 billion in revenue. 2023, 93, 2024, 85, more recently, first quarter, 20 billion. As you can see, the revenue is quite high. And if you look at their earnings, for instance, for 2022, on this 101 billion in revenue, they made 4.3 billion in earnings. This is quite important, because if you look at these earnings, 4.3 billion in 2022, and if you apply a price to earnings about 10 or even higher, you easily get a market cap over 43 billion. And now the market cap is about 23 billion. Now, you also have to look at the trend of this business. As you can see, over the last 3 years, the revenue has started to decline from 101 billion to 85 billion, and so their earnings from 4.3 billion to 1.8 billion for the last year, 2024, as you can see here. Now, you have to ask yourself why there is this decline, this trend in their earnings. The earnings are going down and also the revenue. Well, to understand this business, you have to understand what they do. Their products. You can look at the entire business, ADM. All their business depend on two main things: commodity prices and the value of those commodities, how much they sell. Now, you also have to ask yourself, what is the trend for those two important indicators, commodity prices and volume? And if the trend goes higher and higher over a longer period, then ADM will continue to rise. They might rebound back to 4 billion, over 4 billion earnings, and so the stock price, the market cap. So the volume for sure will increase more in the future, year by year. There is no doubt for this. We need food to survive, so the volume for sure will increase. Now, about commodity prices, here you have to be very careful, because this business, ADM, is cyclical. They not only depend on the volume, but also on the commodity prices. For instance, corn, wheat, soybeans, oils, meal, and alcohol. Now, the most important are those three ones. And if you look at the price of corn, wheat, and soybeans, just go on Google and search it, you'll see a trend. Pre-pandemic levels, This was the price. During that pandemic, the prices went up, and then post-pandemic, the prices went down and increased a little compared to the pre-pandemic levels. Now, why is this important to understand this? And also to look at their earnings during that period. Here was 2021, 2022. Why is this important to understand this? When the prices of commodities, these commodities, go up, ADM is able to make over 4 billion in earnings. When the prices of those commodities go down, ADM is able to make over 1 billion in earnings. So, if you have another spike in those commodities, you can easily have an easy double from ADM. Because if ADM makes again 4 billion, market cap goes to 40 billion. And you have a double. So all you have to do is to predict the future prices of those commodities. Corn, wheat, soybeans. And in the long term, over the next 5 to 10 years, for sure, those prices will increase. You might not have those spikes, but for sure, from these levels, they will increase by 5-7%. It depends on the economy. And of course, if you have other shortages. Now, your return will come from the dividends they pay here, over 4%. Plus, they also use money from the earnings to buy back their own shares. As you can see, the number of shares over the last 3 years has continued to decline from 562 million to 492 million. As long as this number is lower and lower, your dividends per share will increase. So your dividend will get higher and higher. And by the way, this company, if you look at ADM, they have continued to increase their dividends a lot, quite a lot. Over the last 10 years, they've continued to increase their dividends. And as you've seen here, during those spikes, high inflation, they were able to increase prices. And not many companies can do that. So if you have another shortage, as I said, you can easily have a double and even more than that. Over a longer period, this company, ADM, will deliver a nice return. 4% from dividends plus buybacks. And of course, increase in their earnings over a longer period. So either way, you will make money with ADM. The question you should ask yourself is, what return you want from this investment? Are you pleased with 7% a year? Or do you want 20%? Or even higher? Because if you want this type of return, then you have to search for other investments ideas. If you are pleased with 7%, and of course you may also have a spike, shortage in those commodity prices, then your return may be higher than 7%. So it's up to you what return you want from this investment. In general, you have to think in terms of the return you want to get. Now, if you want better investment ideas, you can join my membership. Go to my channel, to my profile, and press join to the level you want. And there you can have access to my portfolio, see what I buy, what I sell, what I own, and can have better investment ideas than ADM. So it's up to you. If you want better returns, join my membership. So that's it for this video. And if you have other questions, please let me know in the comments.